Iain, how are you feeling after the England defeat?
Yeah, obviously, tough one to take. Being such a tight match right the way down to the wire. Um, that's obviously difficult, but again, uh, the effort that the lads put in was huge, and we're had a good few days recovery in there, and we're back out the train out there now this morning, and everyone's got a good spring in their step. So looking forward to what this weekend ahead of us holds.
Is that something that gets easier with time? Obviously, you're well experienced at international level. To park the losses and move on quickly because you do have a championship on the line.
Yeah, look, I think it's something that some players struggle with. Some older players struggle with it. Some younger players get on with it. Everyone treats everything differently. Something that I feel like I've always been got on with well enough, been able to put things, park them, get on with them, move on pretty quick. But uh, in these fast-moving weeks, especially with back-to-back games, there's not a huge amount of time to dwell on things that have happened, and I think the coaches do a really good job of getting us moving, get us on the next thing we need to focus on. So they've been really positive for us.
Yeah, Six Nations championships don't come around too often. But for yourself, when you think of back-to-back Grand Slams, was it something that you sort of wanted to take off?
Yeah, look at the start of the campaign, it was definitely something that I feel that was definitely fully achievable for us. It was something that was um, a realistic outcome that guys could set as a real target for themselves. So that probably added a wee bit to the disappointment of the weekend. But we spoke about it post training yesterday that the opportunity to win a championship doesn't come around that often either. And the guys who are involved in this superb environment need to um, just remind themselves that we're all lucky to be a part of this environment, and to be able to have this opportunity to win a championship at the weekend is massive.
For how long do you allow yourself to stew over a defeat like that before thinking, okay, there's a title decided now next week?
Not long. Like you carry frustrations, and a lot of guys get on with it, and I would get on with it pretty quickly. After the game, you'd be fine. I wouldn't carry too much foul form. Obviously, when you go back to review it, it's hard enough watching at times, and when a few things haven't gone your way, and or a few things you haven't done as well as you know you maybe can do them. That's a difficult bit there, and then the reviews. But the rest of the team are feeling that exact same way. You're although as isolating as it feels, everyone's in the same boat together, and that's kind of reassuring in some ways. And then, like I said, the coaches get us moved on pretty quick on our next task, and that's very beneficial.
The two defeats, New Zealand and England, like most people kind of consider that their best performances for quite a while. Is it a reality of the good record you've had in recent years now that you're kind of getting the best version of an opposition each week? You're the team at the start of the calendar where they're putting the pin in and saying, we're playing Ireland on this day.
Yeah, it's a good place to be. And when you get to be in such a privileged position to be that team where people want to try and knock you off, like it is difficult to stay there, and difficult to maintain records, and difficult to push for things because everyone's vying for a shot at you. And fair play to England. I thought England were excellent at the weekend. I thought the way they came out and the way they started the game was fantastic, and probably they probably deserve to win that, I would say. But it doesn't make it any easier to take, but you can definitely feel that when teams play us, they want to try and rattle us.
That's brute.
Ian, you've had good days and bad days at Twickenham. Was that as hard a day as you've had, just as with everything that was on the line?
Yeah, like it was definitely tough. Like I said, there, fair play to the English lads. They fronted up, and I thought they were excellent. That was probably the most together performance I've seen them. I've seen them probably as a group put together. So fair play to them. It's tough for us to take, but a lot of the lads fought right the way down to the wire, as I said, and we were in it right until the very end. So probably not one of our best performances, but to be still in it right at the very end, or not one of your best performances, it's given us plenty to work on, and plenty of things that we know we can fix up going into this last game.
How would you sum up your Six Nations personally today? Because it's been a wee bit stop-start just with the injury and things like that?
Yeah, probably ever so slightly frustrating. But like I'm long enough in the tooth that I can just kind of ride with these things and try and not get too bothered by it. It's been great to see young lads. See Big Joe coming in. He's been around obviously now for a year, 18 months, and I've been able to see him growing into the player he is now, and it's great to see him getting the opportunity, and other lads stepping up and leading us to the position we were able to potentially have been in this weekend, but again we still are in this weekend of winning a championship, which is massive for us, and those lads, it'll be big and exciting for them, and hopefully after the weekend we'll be able to celebrate well together.
Do players like that just make you want more out of your game? You know, when you're training with Joe and fighting for your place, do you just give an extra?
Yeah, no, it makes you want to train better. It makes you want to prep them better. It makes you want to kind of often when you're not playing, it makes you feel that like you're sort of your test match, if you like, is throughout the week, and to prep them, and then you get a good buzz out of seeing them doing something really well at the weekend that you know that you've prepped, giving them good pitches throughout the week, trained hard against them, and giving them the best opportunity to be the best version of themselves at the weekend. So no, I do take a lot of pride in that, and a lot of enjoyment out of seeing those guys go really well at the weekends.
What do you think Jack Crowley's taken to the number 10 jersey?
I think Jack's been brilliant. I think in terms of the way he's been training, it was never going to be easy for him. But like I said, there, scratch the last few minutes of that England game, you probably couldn't say he's done much wrong, and we'd be sitting in a nicer position, but still phenomenal for his first Six Nations at the helm to be going for a full championship at the end of the campaign. And he should be really proud. I think he should be really proud of what he's done for himself, and the way he stepped into his role. I think he's been excellent.
What's your personal reaction?
I get on really well with Jack. I think he's a brilliant lad. I've said that to him before. I think he speaks really well in meetings. I said it to him probably a year, 18 months ago. I thought that he came across really well in his first campaign when he came in, and obviously it's a difficult position to be in that sort of number 10 spot when you're behind Johnny. But he's done really well, and he's constantly open to learning and constantly open to making not only himself but everyone around him better.
Iain, what's it like working with Paul O'Connor in United? Particularly when you had a couple that got away from you, I know it's 85% overall, but I imagine he's obsessive or that.
Yeah, no, Paulie's good. Like I think he's realistic in what our expectations are, and when things don't go well. We sit down and we have good constructive conversations about why things didn't go well. More often than not, it's not down to who often gets the blame, be it the hooker. Often it'll be a wrong movement, and it's difficult for anyone to say that a line-out's not done correctly because they don't know exactly what line-out the team's trying to do. It could be a yard or half a yard. We've jumped it all week and it's been a half a yard further forward or half a yard backwards, which changes the hooker's throw, which looks like he's overthrown it, but he actually hasn't. He's thrown it the same place he's thrown it. So there's a huge amount there, and it's all about us and our consistency, and Paulie's great at driving that, and I think that's something that he does really well in driving guys' standards, be it not only jumping but lifting and the hooker's throws as well.
How hard is it when there is a loss not to compound it? They obviously feel like big moments, and even if you look at the PCL card that came from the line against Stoke, is it hard to recover from those?
Yeah, I think it's something on the whole we're really good at, but maybe we weren't so good at the weekend, being able to just shift our focus from something negative that's happened and not back it up again, like you're saying. As a group, generally, if you look at us historically, I feel like we've been good at that. Whenever something doesn't go well, or two or three things don't go well in our favour, be it down to our own mistake or anything else, we're usually quite good at getting on with the next thing, having trust in the guys around us, not having to go and fix problems ourselves, and maybe one or two of us or more than one or two of us were doing things probably out in our own a wee bit the weekend, which is out of character for us, which we've addressed and chatted about this week.
Cian, last question.
When you're coming off the bench and Saturday. What are the messages that you've been given? Are you being asked to change things? Is it kind of trying to do the same thing better? What's it like in that?
The weekend past.
Yeah.
Probably when we're coming off the bench there, you wouldn't have direct messaging right to you. When I came on, there were 3 or 4 of us coming on at the same time. We kind of know we want to come on. We want to make sure we're doing our roles really well. We want to make sure we're adding confidence, but also being as collected and calm as possible to the squad coming on. We would have a fair chat beforehand, but be it between if the scrum halves are coming off the bench and or the halfbacks, knowing what way we want to see the game. We'll have discussions with several with Jack and Frolls. It was kind of having several discussions of how we want to try and see a game out. We'll try and give ourselves different scenarios, be it yellow cards or drop goal situations, all those things. We try and like obviously, like we saw in Scotland, was it last year, when things don't go well, like there's always a scenario that ends up happening that you just haven't quite covered. But the more experience you get, the better guys get at handling those scenarios. So, just coming on, making sure they're bringing the best version of yourselves and doing what you know you can do well. I think that's kind of what a lot of guys come off the bench try and do.
Is it almost tougher than that regard coming off the bench because you don't know what scenario you're coming into, whereas from the start it's more of a set defined game plan?
Yes, I know it from the sideline when we're in the bench, but you'll see the guys whenever they're on the bench together, they'll constantly be like talking about stuff. They'll be going over what scenarios they have talked about. This might pan out this way. We'll be watching how they're defending. We'll get an idea. Be it me and Berto last week discussing how England are defending their lineouts, what lineouts are defending Ireland lineouts, what lineouts might work against that, and you almost get a wee leg up in some aspects. Other aspects, it's like you say, you're not 100% sure what's going to be happening when you're coming on. So it's easier, but it's also tougher.